It's Saturday. I have decided to break up. I should turn that playlist into a podcast. I don't know how. So back to C3 versus ECM. I set up the table in a video. I discussed both forces in a video. The three-turn battle report I did by myself is an hour and 2 minutes long. That's rendering right now. It'll be up soon. But I wanted to get into the core concepts of bubbling. So the saying goes, if you want it good and fast, it won't be cheap. If you want it cheap and fast, it won't be good. If you want it cheap and you want it good, it's going to take a while. And that's the way I try to explain C3. C3 is not this, I got it, I understand it, it's an awesome concept. So the problem with C3, inherently, it's an expensive piece of equipment. Whether you're looking at it from the alpha strike percentages, even though all the points are baked in, whether you're looking at it in classic, where you have to add a percentage because you're building a C3 network and alliance, or whether you're looking at it from the RPG aspect of it costs so much to get the components to put into a mech to have a C3 alliance versus buying the units that already have C3. It's inherently expensive. So from my perspective to you, here's how we're going to discuss it. I want a bully lance. I want units that are bullies. And let me explain what a bully is. A bully is someone that is either going to destroy, disrupt, and I can't count because my hand fades away on Zoom. I'm still working on the camera thing. So destroy, disrupt, or disorient your C3 network. Why do we want to do that? Why is this important? Why is this necessary? I have played against a lot of Horde of Blake with the Celestial Omnimax. If you don't know what the Celestials are, terrifying, overpowered, or undergunned. Pick your poison. Now, here's the operative issue with C3. You have an advantage whether you take a very fast unit or a very slow unit and you drop them right next to the enemy so that everyone behind that spotting unit can unload the kitchen sink at the enemy. So this video is dedicated to the anti-C3 units that are one, cost-effective, survivable, or fast enough to where you can annoy your opponent and piss them off. Let's get into sharing screen. Yeah, this is my YouTube channel, but you're not here for this. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to units. We're going to go to Alpha Strike, and we're going to put in ECM. 910 units have ECM. What I'm going to do is adjust by point total. First and foremost, let's just look at the WAS 3S for the sake of the argument and not get too in our feelings. It comes out in the Civil War, Federated Sons, Fed Commonwealth, Free Razorhog Republic, Lion Alliance, and Mercenaries have it. ECM Energy Tag, 2 armor, 1 structure, 15 points. Yeah. Now I have a use for that crappy Wasp model that comes in the Command Lance box set. Just saying. I have a use for it now. Celerity, don't have one. Wasp Trio is Liao and it's stealth. You cannot have the stealth active and the ECM at the same time. It's one or the other. So Hermes, you have an urban mech. An urban mech? Interesting. This is one of the upgun urban mechs from the Jihad, Capellans, Free World League, Major Street, Canopus, Mercenary, and of course, Horde of Blake. ECM Energy Jump Recon Pro tag. 21 points. It's going to live a lot longer than a wasp, which is still not saying a lot, but I'm glad it's here for the sake of the conversation. So, in a 350 point game or a 500 point game where I know my opponent is bringing C3, I'm looking for cheap disposable units that can drive them batty, straight batty. Now, I did adjust the points value so I could look for the cheap ones. What I like to do now is move over to combat vehicles. And same thing. So we have the Ferret Light Scout VTOL from 3076. It's an experimental. Nobody's going to let you play it. However, we have the Dart Scout car, ECM. So any generic Micro Machines vehicle that looks like a crappy car, perfect. 9 points. That means it's 14 inches TMM3, 1 armor, 1 structure, and 2 cargo. Potential. With the ECM, keep in mind this is not a light ECM, so that means it has a 12-inch bubble. You can literally drive it, hide it, use it as a spotter for indirect fire, and drive someone nuts for 9 points. I would do it with a good heart because I'm that guy. My next favorite is the Savannah Master Interdictor. 11 points, 26 inches of movement, TMM4. This means that if you have to be within 12 inches to break up a network, someone's shooting you at a +6. Why? You're not at short range and your TMM is 4. Yeah, for 11 points, I will find 4 of them for 44 points to destroy your C3 network because I'm that friend. I want my cake and I want to eat too. Let's now move on to the helicopters, and I'm going to open them up in tabs. That's 14. Let's see. Centipede Scout car doesn't come out to the Jihad. The Sprint Interdictor helicopter is in the Jihad. Mantis light attack vehicle is in the Jihad. And then let's see. Centipede Scout car at 18 points. Beagle 3067, 3069. Perfect. Warrior attack helicopters, the Jihad. And we scroll down. The battle armor carrier variant, Civil War car novel. We're gonna open up. Crow helicopter, start a Jihad for Japan's Combine. Who else do we got? I'm looking at the years on the right side of the screen. You have the Black Blizzard standard. Don't know anything about it. 24 points, but it's still pretty quick, I'm sure. All right. Last but not least, the Light Mantis Attack V2OL, the good one. I call it the good one. You don't have to agree with me. And just to throw the no, we're not going to throw anybody above that. Kind of bitter. The 3061 Striker Light upgraded 27 points. Boom. So let's recap where we started. Wasp, 15 points, 1-1, 12-inch jump. It's not going to last long. I would partner this up with anything that has an Arrow 4 system, and I'm shooting at the ground because I'm not paying for upgraded pilot. That's me personally. Pick a struggle. Sprint 3076 during the Jihad. ECM tag. You're it. So let's get back to the joke about Airwolf. Airwolf was the fastest helicopter in the 80s on televisions if you were a kid. If you don't know what Airwolf is, YouTube. So now Sprint. Sprint doesn't carry any guns. It's 11 points. TMM4, size modifiers +1. So at short range 5, medium range 7, long range +9. Great. It has a 50-inch threat range to tag a target for artillery. Even better, 11 points. There's no official model for it. Use anything you want. Boom. Mantis. I don't know who was angry at who, When they came up with this one, this was I'm going to call it what it is. It was a dick move. Why is this a dick move? It is 2 points more than the Sprint C3 variant. Hear me out. 32-inch movement, 4 TMM. That's a +5 at short range, +7 at medium range, +9 at long. 13 points. It has an ECM and it has a C3 slave. It's part of a network bringing targets in closer for the team to shoot, but it can pop its ECM to ECCM and tell you no. 4 of these are 52 points. That's a flying bubble that guarantees you get to shoot your ECMs. Yes, I want the Mantis. I want lots of the Mantis. There you go. Number one vehicle for me. I know it's going to die the second it gets hit, but if we're going with fast and good, it's cheap. 13 points. That's it. Suck it. Deal with it. Like it. Love it. Done. Centipede Scout Car from the Lion Alliance has one job: aggravate people. This is an experimental. I doubt anyone's going to let you run it at a tournament. But if you're playing a campaign and you've got the experimental one, it's fast, it's cheap, it's not really good. The average medium mech will gun it down in one shot. It's not fast enough to get away. It doesn't get a bonus for size, and is limited by the terrain it can go into. I wouldn't do it unless you're just a glutton for punishment and you're a sadomasochist. Beagle Hover Scout Tag. Who gets it? Lord of Blake. If you're a toaster lover, I don't like you. 28 inches of movement, TMM4, ECM, Pro, Recon, Tag. Somebody wanted the ultimate sprint and just couldn't afford a helicopter body. And you got the Beagle Hover Scout Tag Hovercraft. No guns. 72 points of driving someone up the wall, countering what they're doing, and spotting for artillery. Here you go. You want a cookie? Get lost. The Centipede Scout Car that is standard, still dirt cheap. 1 more point of armor, no guns, probe, recon, tag. And the FedComs and the Lion Alliance get it. I'm not running more than 2. There's so many other things I could spend points on. 36 points for 2 of these things. Yeah. Granted, it's 40-inch threat range for tag. That's kind of it. Karnov. Okay. Everyone can have one. Congratulations, you all get cookies. You get a cookie, you get a cookie, you get a cookie. Karnov, you are transport. 20 inches of VTOL movement, TMM4, meaning that when it gets shot at, it's a 5 at short, 7 at medium, 9 at long, but it has its own guns. 1-1. Okay. Why is this better than the other stuff we looked at so far? It's a Karnov. It's a classic. 1 armor, 2 structure. It's not better. It's just classic. So why do I like this one? Infantry Transport 8. That means that you can get a jump platoon and a battle armor platoon, or any combination of 8 tons of infantry or battle armor, which is 2 squads of most battle armor, in this thing, and you can set up mobile spotters for indirect fire and artillery. If you have infantry, you play with infantry, get a Karnov. Just make me happy. I will greatly appreciate you. And this thing is so fast it can actually shoot people in the back and hurt them. That's why it's better than the Sprint. That's why it's better than the Mantis. That's why it's better than the Beagle. That's why it's better than the Centipede. I give you 5 things that this thing's better at, and it's only 19 points. Take 2, take 4. Bothers me not. Okay, the Crow. The Crow and the Karnov could be great friends. 2 Crows, 2 Karnovs. Why? Karnov does 20. Crow Scout does 26. But what does the Crow Scout have that other stuff doesn't? The Carof. Less armor, less structure. ECM, energy, probe, recon, and what, kids? Tag. Carof, no tag. Crow, no infantry. But a combined arms player can make the case of a super effective fighting force. I would do it. Now, other thing it doesn't have C3. Carof doesn't have C3. Mantis does. Sprint does. But let's show you what sprint I'm talking about. This sprint doesn't have ECM. It's 13 points. It has probe, recon, and C3. The Mantis does the same thing at better points and faster and the same amount of armor, but we're not going there. So back to the Crow. 50 in strut range, 1 point of damage, and it has tag. And Draconis Combine, Kellhounds, Mercenaries, and Wolf Dragoons get it. Then in the early Republic, everyone has it. Great. There is a Dark Age Cookie Tech model, but there's no classic Battletech Alpha Strike model yet. So use what you want. Blizzard is a cheap, beautiful beast that's overpriced. Why is it overpriced? ECM, Turret 1, SRM 1. If it was 22 points, I'd feel better about it. Doesn't even carry infantry, but it is a hovercraft. So who gets it? This is the other reason why I don't like it. Cappies, Maggies, Mercs, Taurian Conqueror, Wolf Dragoons, Blake. Who cares? But this is the Black Blizzard. Whatever. Mantis Light VTOL. So remember the Mantis that we were making fun of at 13 points? Here's the reason why the Mantis is creme de la creme. 32 inches of movement, no guns. 22 inches of movement with guns. It's still more expensive than a Peregrine, but it has the ECM. So I can go into ECCM mode and shoot you a lot and drive you up the wall, and there's little you can do about it without dedicating a lot of fire to pop me down. So last and not least in this whole conversation is the Striker 3061 upgrade at 27 points. Why is the Striker doing better than everything else? Armor, that's it. Armor. 2 structure, indirect fire 1. So it can be partnered with the cheapest spotter. Matter of fact, someone's going to ask me, what is the cheapest spotter you can legally get away with in the game? Sure, I got you. I already know you're going to ask me. 7-point tag spotter infantry, cargo 3. The cheapest spotters in the game. They don't have a threat range. They have a park it and hit you with the red dot. Let's get back to the Striker. 27 points for 1, 54 points for 2, 108 points for a Lance. That gives you TMM2 and 10 movement. It takes 2 hunchbacks to crack it in one go. Congratulations. C3 Slave, ECM, indirect fire 1. And it comes with a turret. That means you can drive away and still pew, pew, pew at people. And pew, 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 pew a lot. Now, partnered with the tag spotter infantry, you can rain fire down on people. Problem. C3, like I said at the beginning of the video, is inherently expensive. Points are reflected in the model of the Striker. And let's show you the base Striker at 20 points. This is the original Striker, 1 less point of armor, none of the fancy electronics, 20 points. 3061 upgrade, it's expensive. So let's stop the share. There is no good way to get ECCM into your list to shut down your opponents. Clarification. I have C3 as the attacker. Defender has ECM. When his ECM moves into my C3 line of sight, I lose it. Situation two. I have ECM and C3 network. Opponent has ECM. I have to switch my ECM into ECCM. ECCM cancel out ECM. Because it's canceled out, C3 network wins. When the opponent shows up with more ECM than I have ECCM, I lose, network's down. Case closed. Now, what does that look like when you're playing a massive game? The more you can disrupt your opponent's bubble, the better it is for you to crush them. And that's depending on the units they brought that have the C3 network. So when you watch the battle report and you're seeing how heavy the Steiners are versus how light the Cretans are, you'll understand. So thanks for being with me. Thanks for rocking with me. For those of you 11 that gave me likes on the first video, love you to death. Appreciate you. And again, stay frosty. May the 4th be with you.